Sorry about that. Should not have swore. But that's what happens when it all starts going wrong immediately. Immediately.
And Ben told me to say it's family friendly. Make
Yeah.
sure you don't swear.
I'm going to be completely honest with you. Completely forgot my mic was unmuted. Completely forgot. But that's how you start these things, I guess. And that's sort of why we're here to talk adult things, isn't it, Natalie?
It is.
Because if you've watched this channel, you know we do a lot of Butlins stuff on this channel. My children love the place, right? We go to Butlins Bognor Regis quite a bit. We've been to Butlins Skegness a couple of times, which is what we're going to talk about today. But I've put out a review recently, an honest review of Butlins Bognor Regis in 2024, and what I see as the decline, actually, of Butlins Bognor Regis in 2024. Whilst I still think it is a great and fun place, and my children still think that as well, it's got to the point now where it just feels like it's becoming a financial drain for the sake of becoming a financial drain. But with that in mind, Natalie, you've just been to Butlins Skegness for an 80s adult weekend, haven't you?
I have, and I dressed up tonight especially
I
for
can
the
see that.
occasion. Yeah, I don't normally put a side ponytail on and big earrings, but yeah, it was an 80s Skegness all weekender, only for adults, no
Only for
children,
adults, 18 plus.
18 plus, and you have to show strict ID as you check in. That was one thing that thought was very good service as we went in. It was
Well,
like a
I kind of
drive-through
think that's
service.
very good service, but there's also a little
Yeah,
bit of common sense involved, I would say.
yeah. If you they were very very strict. We were repeated. Came out on all documentation. You will not be allowed on the park without any photographic form of ID to prove that your identification and that you are 18.
How
So
very
although
communist China of them.
yeah, it was a little bit, but I must admit, as I was walking around the park, maybe it's because I'm 42, but I did look at some people and think,
Shh, you're not supposed to
you don't,
tell them that.
I was like, you don't look 18. And I thought if I knew that they didn't show these, I would have been like, no, there's no way they look about 16. But maybe I'm just too old now, Ben. But yeah, there were a couple of young uns, but mostly everyone was quite old, like me,
Well, it was
for
an
an
80.
80s for an 80s weekend.
I was going to say the 80s. I was born on the tail end of the 80s. I was born in 89. So very much on the tail end of the 80s. But I went to a 90s reloaded weekend about 15 years ago. Right? It's been a while. And I don't remember half of it. I'm not going to lie to you. We saw, you'll know who this band is, but we saw Right Said Fred at
Oh
Butlins
my god.
in Bognor Regis. And it was a messy weekend. But I'm a good boy now. I'm teetotal. I'm sober, and I have been for many, many years. But yeah, that is essentially what these things are. Well, what I recall them to be.
Yeah.
And
And that's exactly what this weekend at Skegness was about. I did decide to drink. Ben will know I've been sober on and off for the last year, but if you're going to go to one of these weekends, I do not suggest you go sober. I didn't foresee anybody that was sober there. Everybody was drinking. But, value for money, though. We booked this last year, and for the whole weekend, it was £113 each for
so
the
that
apartment.
so how
So
many
that's
were in that apartment?
there were five of us, but there could have been six of us.
Right.
So £113. And actually, prices on site, bearing in mind it's not like it is for the kids, they were pretty normal prices,
So
about £5 for a drink. But well, that's Reading prices. That's right. That's alcoholic Reading prices, and
okay.
£20 for a bottle of wine. Again, that's like Reading prices. I mean, these aren't supermarket prices, obviously, Ben. These are what you'd spend in a
But
normal
before we
park.
before we move on to that, you spoke about the apartment. Should we use magic and show them a quick tour, a
Yeah, let's
very
do
quick
it.
tour that you gave us of your
Yeah.
apartment? What type of apartment was it, by the way? Was it a silver apartment? Was it a
So I think think it was silver. I think that's what it wasn't the top, it wasn't the bottom.
Right,
Remember.
here we go.
This is our apartment for the Butlins 80s weekend. 1 room.
Oh, squeaky door.
2 rooms. There are 4 other stone. Nice little kitchen. Not a bad little apartment. Table we've got round here. Shower. Everything's pretty clean. Nice. Oh look, little balcony. What's in? Oh, another room. Bloody hell, we've done all right, haven't we? There we go. Now we can look out here as well. Ta-da.
Oh, bloody hell, we've done all right, haven't we?
Well, I didn't. It wasn't me that booked it. So to be honest, I had no. It was booked last year. I had no idea. I thought 4 of us were there, and then 5 of us turned up. But the apartment wasn't that bad. Although my friends who were paying more attention than me, that maybe drunk a bit less, did say they weren't that impressed by the cleanliness. They said some of the cleaning in the bathroom needed to be done. They said like the dirt by the stone down by the side of the fridge. I must admit, I personally didn't notice so much, but then I had drunk a little bit more than them. So, just base my review.
You're not painting yourself in glory here. I'm not going to lie. You're not painting yourself in glory.
just based like on the second day, I did start drinking at 9 o'clock in the morning.
I'm aware. I was sent messages. I started drinking. Okay, you're on holiday. It's fine. Yep. It's fine.
Exactly. It's not a normal day, everyone. I don't normally do that, I promise. And we do recommend on the channel sensible drinking in moderation, of course, Ben.
Well, I recommend no drinking at all, but
yeah,
that's my recommendation. Especially if you're going to drive, right? People say, "Oh, I make sure I'm under the limit." Well, the best way to stay under the limit, people, is to not consume it at all.
Yes.
Best way to stay under the limit. You can still have a good time, I think. I mean, you said you saw people you didn't really see anyone who wasn't drinking, but I still think you can enjoy this sort of thing without drinking. However, the acts. We'll get onto the acts in a minute, but it is that culture, isn't it? That's why these things exist. They exist for adults to become kids for a weekend, let off some steam, relive their teenage years, their glory years, or if you went the 80s, they were your glory years, were they?
No, they weren't. I'm a 90s girl, really, and I think for me that was a little bit of the issue. It wasn't necessarily my type of music,
right?
And I think I think the idea is to go there and drink, which is why I made some notes about like ticks and crosses. But the biggest problem for the whole weekend for me was the queues, because everybody had gone there to drink. The bars were half an hour every single time you wanted a drink, which is a long time.
Were they not using the BServe app?
I don't know if I don't believe they were using it. But even when we got there, me and a friend got there earlier than like the check-in. So we were there quite early, 2 o'clock. Even then there was a half an hour queue for drinks. So, which is why I got a bottle of wine. And even then, for security wise, they can't give any, glasses out. You have to, so I had to have a bottle of wine and 2 pints. So I had 2 pints of wine to start on the Friday.
That's once again not painting yourself in glory here.
I'm just giving the idea of, I'm giving the picture to people if you're thinking about going to one of these weekends. The queues were encouraging people to buy more drink.
Yeah, well,
do you understand? I wouldn't have bought that, but when you've got a queue back for half an hour, it was encouraging people to overdrink as well. So that's just something to bear in mind, and particularly for the acts, they got even worse. So throughout the night, the queues got worse and worse and worse.
Well, from what I understand, there's a reason they just wanted to drink away the fact that they were actually watching those acts. Just drink away. Drink, I won't remember this. Kim Wilde won't remember this in the morning.
Yeah, exactly.
But okay, okie dokie. All right, bear with us, people, if you're watching live or watching back, well, just watching back. We are. This is a new type of thing for us. We're running through it. We're doing it on the fly. We're just sort of,
it's a bit of an experiment, really, isn't it?
we're
So
easing you through. We're taking you
yeah,
through. We're taking you on a journey. You take
yeah.
our hand and you come on this journey with us. I think I'm past, and okay, right. I might be a little bit younger than you. Ooh, did he say that? Yes, he did. But I might be a little bit younger than you. But I think I'm past this sort of thing because I don't drink, and
Yes.
that is, if there was an act, because they used to do one every year in Minehead that was just Madness, the band Madness. I would go to that. I would go to that if it came back on. It's something that interests me. But the problem is with these big weekends, it looks like they are struggling to find decent acts.
Can I just say, I'd had a few to drink on the Friday night, and we were in Reds, and they did a Madness tribute act.
All right.
I think it was the Friday, or maybe not one. And I thought it was Madness for about halfway through until somebody told me it was a tribute act. But I did have, but they actually were my favourite. They were really, really good. I was like, oh, this is amazing. And they're like, I'm like, oh my god, I can't believe Madness are here. And people were like, it's not Madness, Nelly.
Perhaps not something you should be admitting on live TV. just saying.
No, so the thing for me was that I've I haven't been drinking for quite a while, and the choice was, I either went away and just said, you know what, just for this weekend, it doesn't matter. And everybody else was drinking, so I did. But I mean, I could have done it sober. Would I have enjoyed it as much? I don't think so. They're set up as a weekend to drink. And that is a part of the reason I think that they don't get great acts necessarily. They just want to feel it's a profit making thing. Butlins just want to fill the whole of Skegness. So
let me play the other little video you sent us, because this was you trying to leave the resort whilst inebriated, wasn't it? So let's have a look at this for a minute.
Yeah.
We have been walking and trying to leave this Butlins resort for at least half an hour. They clearly do not want you to leave. We're going to try find a pub, lunch. We have been drinking a little early. We wanted to go outside, but it's not going to happen. Because half an hour's walking later, we just cannot leave Butlins Skegness. So we're going to try then get a review later on a pub on the resort. Hard work.
Explain.
Can you hear that I'm slightly tipsy?
Just a little bit, yeah, just slightly, ever so slightly tipsy.
So that was near lunchtime, and we had this idea that we were going to walk out of Butlins and go to a pub out of the resort because we wanted to see Skegness, but maybe it was because we all had a few drinks.
It was
half an hour of walking. It was huge, this place. We couldn't find a way out. Honestly, we could not find a way out. And so, we had somebody who I struggle with my walking anyway. We had somebody else with a moon boot, and we just said in the end we give up. We're going to go to they had a pub there, the Beachcomber Inn. We just went back and went there in the end. We could not get out of this resort, Ben. They don't want you to leave.
So I'm assuming
stay inside.
So I'm assuming the Beachcomber Inn is where you went for this.
It was, yeah. That was so that I didn't have at Butlins. I know when you've been, you can either have it so you have the price is included with food or it's not included with food.
Yeah,
I didn't have the food included. So on the day that we left, we went to that, which also has a buffet, which is very similar to the one that's part of the price. I still felt a bit hungover, so that wasn't the biggest breakfast I could have had, but I needed some food inside me. But I was actually quite impressed overall with the standard of food at both the Beachcomber Inn and the Firehouse Grill. I ate at both of those places, and I was expecting quite cheap Weatherspoons or Sizzler quite food, but they were much better quality, both of them. Food wise and price wise, they were okay as well. Standard pricing again, I think it was about £13 for a burger or something. Again, not great prices. No,
Ooh.
but again, it's that for me that standard Reading prices. If you go to a pub, you're going to pay £13 for a burger and chips. I mean, when we went to Chessington, £20 for the vampire burger and chips there. That's extortionate. There's a
Yeah.
price that I'm going to pay, you know. But so it wasn't cheap, but it wasn't expensive either.
Right.
And you know, I didn't do loads of eating. I did more drinking, but the food was actually pretty good. Pretty good was with what we actually ate.
Well, from the sounds of things, you weren't the only one who did more drinking than eating. So
There was less queues. In fact, there was a place called the Firehouse Grill, which was Butlins' versions of Nando's,
yeah,
which was quiet the whole time with no queues whatsoever.
you know why that is, don't you?
Why?
Because it's a sit-down meal and it takes away time from drinking.
Yeah, so that gives you an idea about what those weird Butlins kind of adult weekends are all about. The food places were empty, the queuing for every
That's
single
something
bar.
I wanted to broach because you went to Skegness, right? And
Mm-hmm.
I've only ever been to an adult weekend at Bognor Regis, and I also know about the adult weekends that were going on this weekend and other weekends at Bognor Regis as well. And they have their swimming pool open and a pool party where you can get drunk in the water, right? It's not a good idea, I don't think, but I only remember half of it from 15 years ago, not gonna lie. There was a DJ and stuff like that, but there was no access to the pool at all when you were there, was there?
No, so there was about 10 of us that went, and some of our party were really upset about the pool not being open. And apparently, Skegness haven't had that open now for about 6 months. So I actually phoned on the Saturday morning, like the reception desk, and said, you know, what's going on with the pool? And they said, oh, there's problems with it still. So they've only had the children's tiny baby pool open on and off. So anything when you go to Skegness now, so I think it's even worse for if you have children going, and you know, children like my age, that I've got 15 and 16, you know, they want the pool open.
Yeah.
So I'd be very, very disappointed if I booked up to go to Skegness with the whole pool, slides, none of that working at all. So yeah, there was no access to that, which really you're paying for that. You know, we booked that last year in the summer. We booked it thinking we were going to go into the pool each day and have a pool party.
No, and unfortunately, I do think that is a big part of the experience that you've missed.
Yeah.
And it's good for people to know in advance, and that this is not happening at Skegness at the moment.
Yeah.
Because I'm not seeing anything when I go and look on the Big Weekend website. I'm not seeing anything at all that would allude to the fact that the pool is not available at all during that stay.
There's nothing to tell you. They weren't sending out any information. It was only because people knew coming. You know, they'd heard about it, kind of well. But Butlins, aren't actually letting you know. So I think that's really poor on their part.
I agree with you because, like you say, I mean, a big part of going to Butlins, not just for an adult weekend, but all round, is the, you know, multi-million-pound swimming pool and water slides, and it's essentially a water park that they have there. And to not have access to that, and to not even be told that you're not going to have access to that, I actually think is very poor. Yeah. Even, I mean, I'm going to give you a bit of an example here, right? So you say you paid £113 per person.
Yeah.
And that was for a Friday to Monday stay. Now, when we went to Butlins Bognor Regis in, I think it was April. So we went to Butlins Bognor Regis in April, and we stayed Monday to Friday in their 4-star Ocean Hotel. Okay. The accommodation, so without food, cost us for the entire family less than what you pay per person.
Okay, really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
So that's a huge difference.
It is a huge difference. I mean, we stayed on a 4-star hotel with a balcony overlooking the fairground, and it came in at under £100 for the accommodation.
Wow.
For the 4 nights for 2 adults and 2 children. And in the off-peak season, you know, term time, you can get those prices there pretty often. The food ends up costing twice what the room does, sometimes 3 times what the room does. But I think it's worth it. I think it's worth doing. Because if you pay for the food, then you've got nothing to worry about, quite frankly.
Yeah.
But I honestly think that at what you've paid for what they've provided or not provided, I would be wanting some money back, personally speaking, because whilst you've had 3 nights and 4 days on resort, you haven't got everything that was advertised to you.
No.
What about the fun fair? Was the fun fair operational?
That was operational. We did walk round, and a couple of us, it wasn't me, did use the fun fair. I'd had a few too many drinks for that at the time, and I'm
Right.
not a big fan of the dodgems myself. So no, I didn't go on that, but at least that was operational. The one thing that I would say was absolutely brilliant and was free, this was free, was the silent disco.
Yeah.
The silent disco was a massive thumbs up from me. That I went to. I wasn't planning to. It was after the England match, and I was supposed to be going to bed and going home, and then I was dragged into the silent disco, and it was one of my favourite parts of the whole weekend. So you wear these headphones. You might have some pictures somewhere, but they were you either had headphones and you could kind of change them. So if you were on red, you were on 90s, and on blue you were 80s music. So you had different people dancing to different music. But I thought it would be a bit rubbish, but actually it was just as good as any other nightclub, and it was so much fun. So many people
I'm scrolling through the pictures, desperately looking.
There may be some somewhere. But yeah, it was my favorite. It was possibly one of my. There we go. You can see us with our with a little bit of an England shirt there, because it's just after the England match, with some 80s gear as well, with the headphones, and it was brilliant. I can't fault that, and that was free, because I know we said about Butlins wanting to add prices.
Yeah.
There was no money for the headphones. So that was a whole free experience within the nightclub, and that actually was better than the main acts. That was the best.
Speaking of the main acts, apart from Kim Wilde and Black Lace, do you have any idea who else was there?
Well, they were the acts. The Kim Wilde, we actually went and watched as she first started.
Right.
That was the picture that I sent you of everybody just getting their phones out. It was a very modern experience, rather that everyone just suddenly got their phones out, started filming it, and started taking pictures, which seemed odd. She was singing.
Not this one, but there's some pictures.
Yeah. So she was singing out of tune. It was absolutely horrendous. I think we lasted for she was in the main, not the Reds, which is the smaller place. She was in the main venue.
Centre stage.
Yeah, so it was horrendous. It was absolutely horrendous. I preferred all the acts in the Reds, which is the smaller place. So I did see a couple of songs of Black Lace, and I saw mainly, we stayed in Reds, so they have more of the performers, which aren't the real ones. They're the
red coats.
No, they like I said, the tribute acts.
Basically. Oh yeah, the tribute act.
They're all the tribute acts in Reds, but it was the real Black Lace. But
do push pineapple, shake the tree.
So at that time at night when everyone's had a few, we all that's a good laugh. But it was mainly tribute acts. But again, the nice thing about tribute acts it's all songs you recognise.
Of course, yeah.
That was the pool that was closed behind you as well. You could see. We didn't get to do that.
No, and you see this Butlins sign here. This is something I was going to point out. They must not trust the punters in Skegness, because the one in Bognor Regis is not behind a little fence.
Or is that just for the adult weekends? Maybe.
I don't think so. That looks like quite a permanent installation to me. And like I say, the one in Bognor Regis, you can go and lean on it and take pictures on it and stuff. In Skegness, they don't. They seem to think they might have a lower class or caliber of punter. It would seem they can't quite trust them with the sign.
Yeah, it's possible. There was nowhere apart from the Firehouse Grill that was trusted with real glasses as well. So plastic glasses throughout the whole site as well. You couldn't be trusted with those. But the fancy dress also was a big plus. That was really fun. And I must admit, I would say about 80% of people who went dressed in fancy dress the whole time. that most people.
We're gonna
There
show.
we go.
We're gonna show him you dressed up as my pet love, a Rubik's cube.
Yes, yeah. So that was the Saturday night. I got dressed as a Rubik's cube, which I got loads of comments on. Everybody loved the Rubik's cube.
Yeah, the thing is, when I next see you on Tuesday, I'm going to steal that dress off you.
No, it's not mine. It's my friend's.
Oh, come on!
But I will find out where she got it. I will have a look for you. It's great. It was a great outfit. I got so many comments. There was a couple of other Rubik's cubes around. Mainly, there we go. Mainly people were in kind of shell suits.
Yeah.
Like the ponytails, the earrings.
The last one
Frankie says relax. All of those. All of those type of t-shirts and that.
So when I went to the 90s weekend, there was a bunch of 4 guys dressed up as the A-Team, right?
Oh, brilliant.
However, one had to put on makeup to become Mr. T.
Oh dear, you wouldn't get away with that now.
No, you wouldn't. You wouldn't.
You definitely wouldn't. I'm just the other one that I quite liked is people doing it. Maybe I couldn't get it at the time. I'm just suddenly realizing maybe they were trying to be super grand. Wasn't super grand like 80s, or was that like? But loads of people were dressed up really like they were old women. And to start with, because I'd had a few drinks, I thought they were really old women, and I realized they were just dressed up.
They were just really blokes. They were just blokes.
No, I don't.
They were just blokes.
No, I don't think so.
I need you to explain this to me as well. You need to explain yourself.
That was me taking a picture after walking around. That was just after the video of the half an hour walking.
So were you wearing this when you were filming that video?
Yes, I was. I was very wet, very tired, very thirsty for a drink.
I mean, I'm trying not to judge here. I'm trying. But
I was dressed up,
It's difficult. It's difficult not to judge.
Yeah.
Oh man, this is so. I'm assuming, looking at this apartment complex here, correct me if I am wrong, but you were down by the fairground.
No, this was we were the complete other side. So we were the furthest away from the dome. So it was like a 10-15 minute walk. Right, and I did struggle to get back there after the silent disco on the Sunday, as the shots had come out. I do have a big bruise on my leg from trying to get back to there. So another thing that I would recommend for people that do, just bear in mind, it might be worth paying a little bit more to be closer to the dome, so you don't have a drunken walk back to the apartment. Yeah. And my friends who also lost their way.
Yeah, I mean, Skegness is a far bigger resort than Bognor Regis is. I mean, it's about 4 times the size, but it's very easy.
It's huge.
It is huge, but I wanted to come back to your, the content of your video, of you guys not being able to find a way out. It's really easy to get out.
It might have been.
It's really easy to get out.
Well, I did start drinking at 9 o'clock. And it was about 1 o'clock by that point.
I mean, there are literally.
So I'm just gonna blame the alcohol.
Yeah, well, the alcohol didn't get itself inside your body. It didn't get itself there.
It was really big though, the resort. I'm not joking. And maybe if I was with the kids and I was, paying more attention to a map of the place or something, I might have been able to get out a bit easier. We could keep seeing the edge. We kept getting there and we kept seeing the fence.
Yeah.
We just couldn't quite figure out how to actually get to a place. And I didn't want to climb over the fence.
I'm in a prison.
I'm stuck. Yeah,
I'm in a prison. Help! Help me!
Yeah.
See, this is why I'll probably attend one of these with you at some point, simply to be your sober chaperone. Go, hey, this way, come on,
I could have done with your mobility scooter, to be honest.
Well, yeah, I wouldn't have let you drive it.
No, I know.
I would have said you are too inebriated. You are not drink driving.
Yeah. Oh no! Yeah, I know. Actually, that's a really bad idea. I wouldn't want to have ruined your mobility scooter.
Yeah, I mean that's quite ableist. I'm not gonna lie.
No.
I am joking, by the way. So, caliber of the acts was terrible.
Yeah.
It really was just a drinking experience and a drinking weekend.
That's and if that's what you're going for, if you're going, there was about 10 of us that went. We were on different bits of the park, and mates that I hadn't seen in a long time, and because the acts weren't very good, we ended up having a party in our room instead. So we went home about midnight. I think the first night we were up till about 5 a.m.
Oh.
The second night, I think only about 2, only about 12 on the Sunday, I think. But there were parties going on everywhere.
Oh,
I mean,
yeah, I can imagine.
if you want sleep, again, that's another problem, that if you're going to go sober, that it's so loud everywhere. Everybody's having parties. Everyone's got their balcony doors open. And the other thing is, in the mornings, the smoke alarms, we had a bet the next day. I think we heard 50 smoke alarms go off in the morning. So we were in obviously the self-catering bit. I don't know how they set these smoke alarms up, but yeah, they
Toasters.
just go off. Yeah, even the toasters set them off. So it's just all you could hear in the morning, smoke alarm after smoke alarm after. So it's like a little bit of an alarm clock. So even if you manage to get to sleep by 5 a.m., the smoke alarms are waking you up.
Nah, well, I guess it's par for the course, really.
Yeah.
But do you think that you got value for money in what you did?
My answer to this, so if someone said to me, would you recommend a Butlins weekender or would you go again? I would say absolutely, if it was my style of music. So my issue was, this was booked for somebody else's birthday, a 50th birthday, that they chose to go to. I don't really like
That's
Katie's
called
music.
a midlife crisis, people.
No, it's not. Now you're being ageist, Ben.
Maybe, just maybe.
So it's not my style of music. However, anyone that knows me, like, I'm going to see Chase and Status, which I'm so excited about, in August. I'm a massive dance music fan.
I saw Chase and Status in a place that's not much bigger than this little studio I'm sitting in now.
So I'm well jealous.
Yeah.
See, I'm all about dance music. Like when I went to the Reading Festival, I did 40,000 steps in the dance tent. Now, had that have been my style of music, I wouldn't have cared that there were queues. I'd have been out all night. I'd say it's worth it if you like that. If you're going to go to one, you've really got to like the type of music that's being played.
Yeah.
So if this had been dance music, if I was listening to house and there'd be, there would have been like Ibiza, I'd be there, and it would have been a completely different experience. I wouldn't have been going home to the flat. I'd have been staying out.
Yeah.
So I think is it worth it for the money? Not if you're just going there maybe to meet your friends. You'd be better off going to somewhere else. But if you really enjoy the actual music and the act, I don't think it was bad. Like, it would, I mean, it's cheap, way cheaper than like London prices and stuff inside. They didn't put the prices up so it was out of people's range, so to me, the main thing would be, would I go again? Yes. So someone said, well, this time it's going to be a dance and an Ibiza Butlins weekender. I'd be there. Definitely 100%, but not another 80s one.
Do you think it's worth, in your opinion, do you think it would be more worth trying one of the other resorts rather than Skegness?
Yeah, I think both. Someone just put, you are talking about Butlins music. They do an Ibiza one. That's why I'm saying it. They do there is all different types of adults weekends. They do 90s, they do Ibiza, they do dance. So I think what I'm saying is the music is actually really important to the choice. And I don't know, maybe the Bognor one might be better because it's a bit smaller, possibly.
But the caliber of acts does not change. So the same acts go between the three resorts.
But I think 90s music and would it be any? I'm just not a big fan of 80s music.
I'm just gonna try and pull something onto the screen. You'll have to watch the show to see this. That's talking to you, Natalie. I'm just pulling something onto the screen that hopefully people can see. My God, the computer is running bad now. It's because I'm trying to do a million things at once. But this is the website, the Big Weekenders website,
Yep.
and this is what you've just been on. I'm gonna try and resize that a little bit to make that a bit better. Come on, so that we can see this a bit better. So we can see. Sorry about this, guys. I'm just putting it in the right place. Okay, that'll do. So we've got, they're doing 10% off and stuff like that, but this is the sort of headline artists and DJs. So we'll have a look and see what some of the stuff they have available is. Live performances. So we love the 70s. You've got people like the Bay City Rollers, David Essex, Eban Brown, and Hot Chocolate. Ultimate 80s.
Which again, that would be 70s would not be my thing either at all.
Yeah, Ultimate 80s, which you just did. You've got acts like Aswad, Denise Pearson from 5 Star, The Fizz.
I think 5 Star were there.
Tom Bailey, there's some more here. Tony Hadley.
Not my type of thing.
Heaven 17. We've got The South. Jason Donovan. Limal. Jackie Graham. Martin Kemp. And Nick Hayward. And Peter Cox. And you saw Kim Wilde, didn't you?
Yeah, I did, yeah.
90s Reloaded weekend. You've got The Artful Dodger, Boys Life, which is just 2 of Boyzone.
Artful Dodger, I like.
Chesney Hawkes, Kenny Thomas, Pato Banton. Never heard of Pato Banton.
Yeah, Peter Banton.
Peter Andre.
See, Peter Andre. Yeah. So these would be more
Cleopatra.
My age. Yeah, Cleopatra coming at you.
DJ Sash, DJ Luck and MC
DJ Sash. Oh, I love DJ Luck and see. This would be
Venga Boys.
See, the Venga Boys. I see this.
5.
I love 5. See this.
Eternal.
Yeah, I love Eternal. See, this was right up my street. That's why I'm saying the 70s and 80s. Didn't even really know the acts or the songs.
I mean, we'll have a look and see what they've got for the back to the 2000s. We've got A1. Atomic Kitten.
Yeah.
Blue.
See, I listen to all of this.
The Feeling. I don't know who The Feeling are, but
yeah.
Daniel Johnson, whoever that is. Liberty X.
I went to school with Daniel Johnson. He was an X Factor.
Boys Life again. Cascader. Chip, whoever that is. Tinchy Strider. Fat Man Scoop.
Yeah.
5. Lamar.
Yeah, I like all of these.
Scouting for Girls.
Yeah, see, much better. See, this is when I went to Silent Disco, I put 90s on.
Yeah, I mean, Replay just appears to be a mixture of all of them. Kimberly Wyatt, Louise, Boys Life 5, Martin Kemp, Scouting for Girls, DJ Sash, The Feeling.
Yeah.
We call it dance.
No, but I think I think there is like an Ibiza one apparently as well. That's which is more like dance, which isn't necessarily live act, but quite a lot of dance being played. Is there not one?
They've got one called We Call It Dance, which is Jax Jones, Mark Knight, and Sigma.
Okay.
But I do believe they do a couple of specialty ones.
Yes, yeah. So yeah, I think my recommendation is that actually, if you want to do Butlins and you want the music, you really got to enjoy what you're going to go see, because that made it different to me, because we just went back to the apartment because the queues with the 80s music. We had a great laugh. Did I enjoy it? Absolutely. Did I love the time with my friends? Absolutely. Did I like the music? No.
So this might be the sort of thing, Shine On Weekenders. These are sort of specialty ones that they do. So you've got like Shine On Weekenders. You've got a Bootleg Ball, which is just an entire weekend of tribute acts.
Yeah.
That sounds fun.
Yeah.
Giants of Rock Bootleg Ball, Rockaway Beach, Shine On, Darts, Professional Darts Weekend.
Oh, that sounds good.
So here's the Giants of Rock Bootleg Ball. So these are all sort of tribute acts. You got Led Zeppelin tributes, arcades, fairground, all of that. So it's a lot of fun. And
no, but it was fun, Ben. Did I have a good time? Absolutely. You know, is that much cheaper than going away into a hotel with your friends? Absolutely. If I went and looked at something like a travel lodge, that would be a one night £113. Some of them.
Well, yeah, I agree.
So was it a good value for money for a whole weekend with my friends? Yeah, it wasn't bad at all. But is it it's not as good where if you don't like the music. We spent more time in the flat really than we did because the acts and the cues did make actually being out in the resort not as enjoyable, but it was still fun to come back and have a party in the apartment.
And going back to the apartment, and going back to what your friends about cleanliness. See, for me, this is quite the bugbear, and this is actually a big one for me. With Bognor Regis, because they've got 3 hotels rather than they've got some apartments, but they focus more heavily on the hotels.
Yeah.
So you've got hotel room service, to that level, to that standard of a 3 or 4-star hotel. When we stayed in Skegness, we stayed in a fairground apartment, and it wasn't the cleanest. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, and that's my friends were really not impressed. So one of them said they were going to phone and make a kind of complaint, like you said about the pool not being open and the level of cleanliness. We also had a leak on the floor, which wasn't. We didn't realize at the start. But we had to put a towel down because we were like, we think it might have been from like the washing machine or something. We couldn't tell. There's no way that we'd poured a drink. Like first of all, someone thought someone's accidentally spilled a drink, but it was there quite early, and then it was there for the whole weekend, and it just kept getting worse and worse and worse. So it again, you'd expect a little bit more, I think.
You would. I'd just like to ask, why did you take a photograph of your room key and purse on the floor?
But this was because when we were arriving, we were on a group chat, and so people were asking about trying to get in. So I had like other stuff in my hand. So the person who booked it was saying, "Did you manage to get your band and your key?" So instead I took a picture of both and put them out. See, that's like, so I showed this was to show to my group chat that we were the first to get in, and this. You need your ID. You'll get one of those, and you'll get the key. So I just happen to still have them on my photo roll.
So on the family breaks, all of the adults have to wear those bands, and I think they're a different color each week, so that the security don't think they came in last week, they're wearing a purple band. So
and there's much tighter security on the adult weekend, so you have to have them on at all times. You don't have access to anywhere without the band, and you are asked anytime you enter the dome, if you have any bag, it has to be searched because they don't want any alcohol being brought into the dome whatsoever,
because they want you to buy it.
Yeah, so it was like the first time, like I said, so we got there early at 2:00. We headed straight there, and I had a backpack on, just a small backpack that I always take to festivals or anything like that. And the doorman straight away asked me, I need to search your bag. I'm like, do I look that dodgy? He's like, no, you'll be searched every single time, which I was.
I understand it to an extent, okay, and at Disney, because we're massive Disney aficionados on this channel. Every time you go into the Disney Village, you have to go through a metal detector and airport style security. So you have to put your bag through a scanner if you've got a bag. So I understand that, but that's not just to go into a theme park. That is to go into, you've got hotels in one area, and you've got the Disney Village and theme parks in the other area. The bag searches, you go through that once to get into the Disney Village area, and then you can freely roam throughout the Disney Village area, both the theme parks, and to your heart's content without being searched again. So, does it kind of make you feel like a criminal being searched every single time?
The first time it was, because I wasn't expecting it, Ben.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? The first time I was like, what? What have I done? Especially because my friend didn't have a bag on her, so I felt a little bit like is it just me? But then I realised and was watching that it was just something they were trying to do, because I think what most people would do would just buy a soft drink.
Yeah.
And then just bring in their own alcohol. And I think it was just their way of protecting their profits.
Yeah, I think it's more about profit than safety.
It was. I don't know. I don't think it was safety. It was profits. Yeah. They weren't. They put it this way. They weren't looking for any other form of contraband. They were only looking for bottles.
So they were
it was alcohol. They wanted you to buy their alcohol on the site.
That's really I'm going to use the word scummy, because what if you have bought the alcohol that's in your bag at their shop? What if you've bought it on site?
Doesn't make it any different. So we actually bought a can. They were only selling cans of alcohol in the main arena.
Okay.
When we saw Kim Wilde, so I bought. Somebody bought me a Smirnoff vodka and Coke that was in a can, and we tried to walk into the dome after we'd just been in the main thing, and they wouldn't let us in because they said we can't tell if you bought that in the main venue or in the shop. So you need to drink it before you come into the dome.
Even if you bought it in their shop, what's the problem?
Even if you bought it in their shop, so they made me down it before I came in, and I'd only just bought it.
So they encouraged irresponsible drinking in order to protect their own profit margin. See, things like that, I actually don't think are good practice. I really don't.
There were things that weren't good practice. Like I said, they unfortunately, because in order to protect their profit margin, they encouraged bad drinking. I would never have ordered that much wine, but I had to because the queues were so big. So each time I ordered a bottle and had 2 pints of wine.
So I'd like to make people aware of something called the B-Serve app. I don't know if they used it on your adult break. You're saying you think they might not have?
I was looking at the tables that they didn't. I didn't see anybody. I didn't see anyone using them, so I don't believe they were working on the adult weekend. But I can't say that for sure. But I didn't see them working, and we did go to check after you'd sent me that, and I couldn't see them working.
Right, fair enough, because the same issue happens in the evening shows on a family break. If you want to go to the bar, the queue becomes manic. And we don't go to the bar and buy alcohol. We're going to the bar to buy slushies for the kids and, soft drinks and stuff like that. But the queue can be 20 minutes, half an hour, as you said. So the B-Serve app is actually really quite good. So doesn't cost anything extra. You order and pay on the app, and you literally scan a little QR code on your table, and 5 minutes later your drinks are handed to you at your table.
And that didn't seem to be working. It's certainly not. Well, I was very impressed with the football. So the England football was being shown at one of the big pubs. That you had to go through a little tunnel to get to it, but I felt like it was off site, but it wasn't. It was still on site.
Yeah.
And they were showing the football there, and they did a really good job with that. I must say, they got loads of people. There was about, I'd say, 200 to 300 people in that pub. It was a really good atmosphere to watch the football. But again, the bar was so packed. Every single person was buying massive amounts of drink in order to come back. I myself bought myself a bottle of wine to watch the first half. But then by that point, I went and bought quite a lot more after that. So that was Butlins' fault. I wasn't planning on drinking, but their queues forced me to drink, I'm going to just say. So, that's not my fault.
Take some accountability.
I'm only joking.
Take some accountability. Harold says, my friend asked me if I wanted to go to Butlins. I said now. I think he means no. Well, it all depends on what type of Butlins experience you're going for.
Yeah.
Because, like we're talking about here, we're talking about the adult weekends. I went on a 90s Reloaded one about 15 years ago. And I'm not going to lie to you. I think I had a great time. Not quite sure, because I can't remember half of it. But I think I had a great time. I seem to remember one of my friends returning with a giant novelty light-up bow tie that he didn't have before.
It's all about expectations. I go there, I've gone to Bognor a few times with my children, and we've had a brilliant time.
Yeah.
Because it was about going there for the children.
Yeah.
And, I didn't drink when I went there with my children. And it was just about them enjoying themselves, going on the soft play, going on the fun fair, going on the arcades. The arcades, by the way, nobody's on them the whole time.
That
they were
doesn't shock me.
empty. That's why there's a complete different thing, and it's about expectation. If you're going to one of these, Butlins all weekend, it is really a drinking weekend.
Yeah, I mean, it doesn't shock me. I imagine the over 18s arcades where you can win like £500.
No, they were empty.
They were empty as well.
They were empty. Yeah,
wow.
Really, I thought that, but no, they were.
I'm shocked.
Too.
I am shocked. I mean,
I expected more people after they had a few drinks to be using like the claw things and having it up. No, they were always empty. Nobody on them at all.
See, that part doesn't shock me, because let's face it, what bunch of adults is going to want to win those crappy tickets to go and exchange them for a bunch of toys? That's for the kids.
No.
That's what it's for. And when you're winning all those tickets, you're not winning them for you. You're not winning them for yourself. You're winning them for your kids.
There was quite a big. My friends went on the roller skating. There was quite a big queue for that. So
Wow.
that was open, and the bingo we didn't manage to go to. A couple of people went to that.
I
So
think
that
that's
was.
quite irresponsible of Butlins to allow drunk people to roller skate. I'm not
Oh,
gonna lie.
yeah, but see, this is why I said I don't really think there was a lot of security for your actual like personal safety. The security there was for profits. Believe me.
What's that? You got a knife? Well, go on in. You got a beer? You got a beer?
Yeah.
My God.
They were protecting their profits at all costs.
I mean, I kind of want to do one just so I can vlog it, right? Just so we can put it out on the channel and actually give a full experience, like I do with the other break.
We could do soon. And if you were not drinking, then I would not drink either. I was there. There was nowhere I was going to go with my 10 friends who are all drinking and me not drink.
No, if you came on one of those with me, you'd go, "You are a boring, boring old man." And I'd just sit there, crack out one of them old-timey smoking pipes and be like, "Yep. Yes, yes, I am."
But they were quite strict about vaping too.
Come on.
Obviously a lot, because obviously I nearly got chucked out on the first night in the bar because I do like to dance on a chair. So they did keep pulling me off the chairs.
Well, I'm not going to lie, and I'm going to give people that are watching this a bit of an idea. You are 3'0". So when you dance on a chair, you're about the same height as everybody else.
Exactly. So I did get away with it for a while because I was literally the same height as some of the other blokes when I was dancing on the chair.
When we go to Fort Park on Tuesday, for those, we'll do a live stream from Fort Park as well, I think.
Yeah.
But when we go to Fort Park on Tuesday, I'm going to have to measure her against all the roller coasters to make sure she's tall enough. It's as simple as that.
And I'm just exactly.
You have to put her.
And they were also saying when we watched the England match, we got one of the security guards coming up because a couple of our friends vape and they nearly got chucked out for having a couple of puffs within the pub.
That is ridiculous because it's completely legal. It is completely legal to vape indoors.
Is it in a pub?
Yep.
Is it?
Completely legal.
So that was another thing that they were quite strict on. And my friend's like, no, we weren't vaping. Putting the vape.
Well, no, it's completely legal to. It might not be for many years to come, but at this time, I mean, when we go out to karaoke on a Saturday night, sometimes if we can find a babysitter, the place we go, they let anyone vape indoors. In fact, the landlord and everybody else, they'll sit there vape because it's completely legal.
Oh, I wasn't aware that it was, to be honest, because in most of the places in Reading, they don't allow you to.
Yeah, that's a house
it's their own rules. It's their own rules, yeah.
Yeah, I'm going to say that's a house rule. That's not a law. Yeah. And I think a lot of security guards are overzealous and think it is the law. By the way.
Yeah, and I think that's what I think the case is as well. There's a lot of misunderstanding
because Butlins in Bognor Regis, they've always allowed people to vape within the within the Skyline Pavilion. I mean, they don't specifically say you're allowed to do it, but I've seen so many people doing it, and I've never seen anybody stopped. Never.
No, so that was another thing that they were strict on. That wasn't.
I think during the course of this, I've sunk down because the compression in my chair is broken. Hold on. There we go. I'm a little bit higher now. A little bit higher now. But yeah, the compression in my chair is broken, but we will persevere. We will push on.
So maybe I might have to try another weekend one soon, but not 80s, and maybe try it sober as well and give a whole new experience.
Well, maybe you should. Or maybe you should juxtapose it and try a family break.
No, we are thinking. My friend goes every Christmas, so
do we.
We're trying to think about going for a Christmas break.
So I'm trying to convince my wife that we need to go the first week of December. So that's we try and go every Christmas because it's.
Well, we're thinking about actually going over Christmas itself.
Oh no, that's so much money.
Is it?
That is so much money. Right? Once again, you don't get a different break to what you get in the first week of December, but you will pay 6 times the price. You will pay 6 times the price. Now,
it's just that I'm not a fan of Christmas, you see. I want to be away for Christmas, so it might be worth the money. So I'll have a look.
I mean, all I'm going to say is it will probably end up costing for you and the kids probably well over £1,000.
Oh,
well
that's
over.
that's probably a bit much.
Yeah, and when you start getting into that sort of money, you might as well look elsewhere. You
Yeah.
might as well look abroad. And that's largely what I said in my family break review here on the channel, is because, yes, it was really cheap for the room, but then once you add the food on, that becomes nearly 400 quid, right? And then they're trialing something at the moment that is only being trialed on midweek term time breaks. It's a drinks package. Okay.
Yes,
So
I've heard this.
it's on trial. So it's not guaranteed they're going to introduce it. But for the Monday to Friday, for your entire party, it adds up to £70 per person for 5 days unlimited drinks. And
That's
that
very
includes
good.
alcohol.
Yeah.
That
And that's what my friend said she's going to do when she goes next.
Yeah, but they're only available at this time on term time breaks.
Yes.
They're not
Yes.
available on holidays, and because when you think about it, it is really cheap. It is really cheap.
For a drinker, that's very cheap.
Yeah, £70, and you can have unlimited beers, wine, spirits, cocktails, all included. Now,
I mean, I looked back at what I'd spent over the weekend on Monday. I didn't want to have a look. The rounds were the problem.
well, this was gonna. I correct. Stop me if I'm prying, but I was gonna actually ask you what it did end up ultimately costing in total.
A fortune. And that, I just took I think I probably spent about £250 when I added up, and that doesn't include the 113. Probably in rounds over the weekend.
So
and food.
So it sounds to me like the advice you would give here is, if you're going to go to one of these things, have deep pockets.
Oh, well, I mean, because it's a drinking weekend.
Yeah.
So the other thing to do, or you don't go, you do most of your drinking in the apartment, because they let you have any amount of alcohol. So you can bring your own alcohol in to the apartment, and that's no problem. So, I'm
rolling my eyes because they know that people want to drink inside in the venues and stuff like that, and I'm guaranteeing you there is a price premium on it that's not on it when you go the next week.
Absolutely, and it's also my fault because I was buying rounds. So by the way, people, you don't have to spend that much, but I was in a group of 10 people, and if someone buys me a round, I'm going to buy them one back. We were there all 3 nights. So
well, it looks like for 10 people, it looks like it ends up coming up at around minimum £50 a round.
Yeah.
When you look at it that way, it just seems to me.
I mean, I wasn't always doing it for 10 people, but if there were lots of different purchases over the weekend, and it's not going to be cheap.
No, so it seems to me a bit like exactly the same as what I ended up concluding when it came to the family break, is that they charged you a nice decent amount of money to get you in the door, and then once you were in the door is when they start fleecing your pocket.
And with the way they do the security and all of those things, profits is their priority.
Well, I think that will be that for this. It's not going to end with a bang, people. It's going to end with a whimper.
Yes.
It is going to end with a whimper. I do promise you that. But I hope you guys have learned something more than Natalie's drinking habit from this. That's a joke.
I'm going to be sober for a while now.
Oh, okay. I trust you. Thousands wouldn't, but I do. But Natalie, thank you for doing this, because it was, I'm just putting it against my family break, and it just seems to me like the same conclusion is happening on the adult weekends. It's that they've worked out how to fleece people, and they are going to fleece them. Oh, nice, pretty cheap prices, get you in the door. £5 a pint, there you go. I mean, I don't.
And you have to spend money if you want to stay in the dome and see the events, and they make sure you're going to spend money.
Right.
It's about making money.
Well, on that note, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen, children of all ages, if you have taken something from this, fantastic. If you haven't, then you've just wasted an hour. However, click the like button, click the subscribe button if you haven't already, and there's plenty more to come on this channel from the likes of Butlins, from Disneyland Paris. We got a big one coming up in just a couple months' time that I haven't told any of you about. So there is a big one coming. We'll be back from Tuesday with some more Theme Park UK content. We're going to go and see Hyperion at Thorpe Park if they've managed to take the train out of the valley, because at the time of recording this, it has stalled. People,
Again.
It has stalled, so they must now remove the train from the valley and try and reopen the coaster in due time. that coaster's not having the best luck, is it, with its start of its life?
I'm really hoping we can get on it on Tuesday.
I hope so too. I hope so too.
Fingers crossed. Everything crossed.
Fingers crossed that we find our Fearless in Fearless Valley and ride what looks like an absolutely terrifying roller coaster.
Ah!
It does. It looks great. It looks great. It looks terrifying.
Will we survive?
Yes.
Tune in to find out.
Yes, we will survive. Our sanity might not, but physically we will. Thank you for watching this one. We'll speak to you in the next one. Click the like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already. Bye!